Yeah, not bad. Is this legal? Not sure. Yeah, we're off to... Yeah, will we? All behind the scenes. Yeah, off to Whistler today for a very special activity. And this looks like a great day. Look at this. No cloud in the sky. Unreal.
I'm James and I host the Winging It Travel podcast and this channel. I love nothing more than jumping in an aeroplane to get some views, which is exactly what you're going to see today. I do wonder if I can fly the aircraft though. Let's jump in. The Sea to Sky Highway is becoming like the A11 in Norfolk, with the novelty wearing off quicker than Justin Trudeau. However, the views are sensational.
This is the Horseshoe Bay Terminal, and that is where you get your ferries to Vancouver Island, Bowen Island, and access to all the other parts like Sunshine Coast.
We travel from West Vancouver to Whistler, which takes about an hour and a half, and we are rewarded with stunning views of Howe Sound, the Chief, and all the mountains in the vicinity.
Here we have arrived to our check-in at Harbour Air at Green Lake. There's the tours today. Whistler Air, and that may be our plane over there. Who knows? Decent views. Check-in complete, took about 30 seconds, and we're boarding at 10:45. Weather update, a bit of cloud. Hopefully that gets cleared up. But really looking forward to this. It's been on my list for 5 years, so good day to tick it off. Excited.
We parked on Green Lake to check in for our Harbour Air scenic flight over Whistler. This 40-minute flight costs 239 Canadian dollars, but you're guaranteed majestic views of iconic BC landmarks like the Black Tusk and Garibaldi Lake, as well as many other glaciers and mountains. We were there early, so we walked around the Jack Nicklaus golf course to soak up the anticipation.
Nicklaus North Golf Course.
And it's time to watch our seaplane land on Green Lake before queuing up to check in and enter the plane. We were excited. This is September, so I was worried about the cloud at this point, but we were reassured that there will still be some great views up there in the air. This was a full flight, so we queued up with the pilot explaining that he will have to put people into seats due to the fullness and weight issues of the plane. So I advised 100 kilos, beware and choose wisely. And as I approached, one thing I did not expect today was to be asked if I want to join the pilot at the front of the aircraft. I immediately accepted.
Okay.
Seaplanes are tight, so it's head down before crawling my way to the front. And don't worry, I reassured the passengers I wasn't flying the aircraft today, which got a nervous laugh or two.
Hey there, how many are you guys?
Going in there. I'm not flying, don't worry.
And here I am at the front. This felt nostalgic as I reminisced about my time as a cadet flying two-seat airplanes and letting the pilot do aerobatics. I was giddy, but I was ready. I had an extra 20-second safety briefing before placing my co-pilot headphones on to listen to the radio chatter. A bit of turbulence was in the air, and there was also a bit of wind which could dictate where we landed. It was time to take off on Green Lake. and dare I say it, this seemed fairly familiar. You approach speeds which are the same as a car, and before you know it, you're off the ground and into the air. Instantly, I felt how light this aircraft was as we were thrown left to right as we adjusted to the conditions. The first view is of the mountains in the distance and the endless trees below next to Whistler Village, and I was still in disbelief that I was at the front and next to that engine in front of me too. We headed for the mountains. This is where we got our first taste of hugging the mountains and kissing the ridges. Look how close we get here. I almost feel like we're going to touch the glacier. Cool, how awesome is this? Are we actually going to land on this mountain? At this moment the turbulence is present as we get closer to the mountain sides, but my view is so good at the front. I can see from the pilot side to the front and to the right of me. We are approaching Garibaldi Lake, which I hiked up to a month ago, which you can watch on another video if you click here. In 5 minutes we're at Blackcomb and Garibaldi Lake, and it seems so easy, unlike the 9 kilometers one-way hike I done a few weeks ago. We saunter through the clouds on top of the mountain, which gives off an epic aura. This lake has stunning colours. Look at this. Turquoise colours on a lake surrounded by trees and mountains with snow on top. That is classic Canada. We dipped back to the top of the lake to see more glaciers and snow. I hadn't seen this much white stuff since Bolivia. And in this footage right here, I think is the closest we got to the ridge, and I was in awe of the views, but also how close we were to the mountain. It's pretty epic and pretty unreal, to be fair. And at this point, the turbulence was getting to me as I started to feel a bit queasy and dripping in sweat. I wouldn't dare look at the pilot in case I spooked him, because I couldn't see a sit bag around me. It was time to concentrate. As you can imagine, the lack of footage here is because of my concentration of not entering Chunderville on Chunder Airways. So we are now approaching Green Lake. It was probably the most anticlimactic of landings, so smooth and so serene.
So we just come off the plane, there it is, and that's a fantastic flight. About half an hour in the air, very bumpy, bit of turbulence, but the views were absolutely incredible, just insane. Got some great footage as I sat at the front, so you're going to see some awesome front of the plane stuff, a bit hairy on some of it, because I'm thinking, oh, is he going to turn? Don't know. But yeah, unbelievable. What do you think?
Maverick.
I was backup pilot, to be fair.
Yeah,
Got an extra safety briefing at the start. Yeah.
Yeah, things were going wrong. I think Hammer was going to take control and send us back down to the lake. So, yeah.
But yeah, unbelievable. Well worth doing, and you must do it if you come to Whistler.
Overall, what an experience. If you can spare the cash, this is a great activity near Whistler. On a clear day, the views will be even better, but on this day, they were great too. There were so many peaks, glaciers and lakes that it was a view a second. The pilot did say it was pretty bad for turbulence today, and some people did struggle on the flight and were sick, but he said the views with the clouds make it even more majestic, so I was glad to hear that. For the debrief, we headed into Whistler to walk around the village and have lunch. Whistler is not my favourite place in the world, but it's a courtesy to show my guest around. The true reflection point, however, was the Chief on the drive back. This landmark never ceases to amaze me, and I could look at it all day. My summary for this activity is just bloody do it. Pay the money, get on the seaplane and soak in the views. If you don't want turbulence, try booking the flight while you're there and not in advance so you can judge the weather. Pick a lovely balmy summer's day in July and you can't go wrong. I love flying, it's a passion of mine, so in reality this is like living my kid's dream again of wanting to be a pilot. I didn't get to fly the plane this time, but I was so damn close, and being in the co-pilot's seat with those views, it was close enough for me. Please follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel today, and let's go and see the world. Cheers, Hamo!